So, what's the real difference between just using AI and actually building with it? It's a huge question, right? Well, that's the exact journey we're going on today. We're going to break down that path step by step from user all the way to builder. Let's get into it.
You know, I love this quote from Michel Lenham because it just hits the nail on the head. This whole AI thing, it's not some far-off sci-fi future. The potential is right here, right now, just waiting for people like you to grab it and build something incredible. It's all about making that potential real.
Okay, so here's the game plan for our journey. First, we'll get the lay of the land, what this new AI landscape looks like. Then, we'll gear up with your first essential tools, prompts, and something called RAG. After that, we're jumping into the world of AI agents, and for the grand finale, we'll see what it takes to build a model completely from scratch. Sound good?
All right, first stop, we need to talk about the world we're in right now. Because the rise of AI, it's not just another new gadget or app. This is a real paradigm shift. It's fundamentally changing the rulebook on how we create things with technology.
I mean, think about it. For decades, if you wanted to build software, you had to speak the computer's language. I'm talking lines and lines of strict, perfect code. One typo, and the whole thing could break. But now, that's all changing. We're moving from writing rigid code to just talking, having a conversation in natural language, and that shift is absolutely revolutionary. It's why so many more people can now jump in and start building amazing things.
Okay, so if you're gonna build in this new world, you need a toolkit, right? Let's start with the absolute basics, the two tools that are the foundation for pretty much everything else. First, how you talk to the AI, your prompts, and second, how you give it new information to work with.
Okay, check this out. It really shows the difference. On one side, you've got a lazy prompt, like, give me a movie. What's the AI gonna do with that? Not much. But on the other side, you get specific. You engineer the prompt. Recommend a time travel movie set in the medieval period. Bam, you get exactly what you want. This right here is your first superpower as a builder. It's called prompt engineering, and it's all about precision.
But okay, that leads to a really big question, a huge roadblock actually. What happens when the AI needs to know something it wasn't trained on? You know, the stuff that's not just out there on the public internet. We're talking about your private data, like your company's internal documents. The AI knows about Napoleon, sure, but it has zero clue about your Q3 sales report. So, how do you fix that?
And the answer is this really cool technique called Retrieval Augmented Generation. Or you can just call it RAG. Honestly, the best way to think about it is like giving the AI an open book test. Instead of forcing it to remember everything from its training, you let it look things up in your books, your documents, your data. It finds the relevant piece of info, adds it to the prompt, and suddenly it can answer questions about your private world. This is an absolute game changer for building trustworthy AI.
So how does that open book test actually work? Well, it's basically a three-step process. First, you have indexing. Think of this as creating a super organized digital library of all your documents. Then, when you ask a question, the retrieval step happens. It's like a lightning-fast librarian that instantly finds the exact page and paragraph you need. And finally, generation. The system takes your question, takes what the librarian found, and puts it all together to give you a smart, context-rich answer. Simple, but so powerful.
Okay, so now we know how to talk to an AI and how to give it new knowledge. That's huge. But what's the next level? What if we want the AI to not just answer us, but to actually do things for us, to take action? Well, my friends, that's where we enter the world of AI agents.
So what is an AI agent? It's the next big step in this evolution. This isn't just a chatbot anymore. An agent is a doer. It's proactive. It's the difference between asking, hey, what are the best flights to Tokyo? And just saying, book me the best flight to Tokyo. See the difference? One is information, the other is action.
And you can really see that evolution right here. We start with just a direct chat with the AI. You ask, it answers. Simple. Then you level up to a proxy agent. This is like an assistant that knows what tools it has. It'll say, hey, I can call the weather API for you. Is that okay? It needs your permission. But the final form, the autonomous agent. You just give it a goal. Filter my important emails, and it goes off, figures out the plan, and just does it. No hand-holding needed.
So you're probably wondering, how does an agent actually think? How does it figure out what to do? To get that, we've got to pop the hood and look at the core components, kind of like the different parts of its brain.
It really comes down to these 5 key ingredients. You've got the profile or persona. Basically, who is this agent? What's its job? Then you give it actions or tools it can use, its own personal toolbox. You also need to give it knowledge and memory. That's where RAG can come in again. And then, here's where the magic really happens. You have reasoning and planning.
This is the part that thinks, that connects the dots, that builds a strategy to get the job done.
And this is what that thinking process actually looks like in action. It's a flow. The agent might start with your request, then decide, this is a little vague. I'll use a tool to make it more specific. Then, based on that, it thinks, okay, now I need to search the web for info. It's this constant chain of thought, a series of decisions where one action leads to the next, all driving toward the final goal.
And it can get incredibly sophisticated. This right here shows an agent called Chameleon, and just look at its toolbox. It's got a whole suite of different tools for different jobs. And the really cool part is, it doesn't just use them randomly. It analyzes the problem and intelligently picks the perfect tool for that specific moment. That's when you go from a simple tool user to a genuine problem solver.
Okay, we've gone from prompts to RAG to building agents that use existing models. But there's one last stop on our journey. The final frontier. What if you want to build the whole thing, the large language model itself, completely from the ground up?
This is basically the blueprint for doing just that. It all starts with a mountain of data that you have to prepare and clean. That's stage one. Then comes pre-training, where you feed all that data to a model and let it learn for a very, very long time. That creates your foundation model, but you're not done. The last step is fine-tuning. That's where you take that general model and train it on a more specific task to turn it into something like the chatbots we use every day. This is the absolute peak of being an AI builder.
And there you have it. That's the path. We've gone from user to builder. From just giving simple instructions to feeding the AI new knowledge, to building agents that can actually take action, all the way to seeing what it takes to create the models themselves.